There are stories carved into stone that even time fears. Beneath the desert's silence lies a language of light, shadow, and warning. Egypt, the land of gods, pharaohs, and sands that have swallowed entire empires, has never stopped whispering, and sometimes it screams. Imagine a structure so precise, so mathematically flawless that modern engineers still debate whether we could rebuild it today, even with our best machines. Imagine it being built over 4,500 years ago. Now imagine, it wasn't a tomb, but something else entirely. A code, a vault, or a prophecy. Welcome to a journey unlike any other, through ancient corridors lined with secrets that predate Moses, outlasted the plagues, and may point to a knowledge older than civilization itself. This is not just another history lesson. This is the first of 4 ancient Egyptian mysteries, too forbidden, too precise, and too biblical to ignore. If that excites your curiosity and chills your spine, hit that subscribe button now, because this is the kind of truth that demands company. Now, turn down the lights, lean in, and remember, in Egypt, the dead may rest, but the past never sleeps. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the only remaining wonder of the ancient world, and yet, no one can say with certainty who built it, or how. We're told it was a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu. But let's pause there, because that's where the facts end and the guessing begins. There are no mummies inside the pyramid, no royal inscriptions, no clear religious texts, just shafts that align with stars, massive blocks that weigh over 70 tons, chambers built with geometric perfection, and tunnels that descend deep into the earth where no pharaoh would wish to lie. Let's talk numbers. The base of the Great Pyramid is nearly a perfect square, each side just a few inches off from the others across more than 750 feet. Its height multiplied by 43,200 gives you the polar radius of the Earth. That's not speculation, that's math. Coincidence? Now remember, this was built around 2500 BCE, long before compasses, telescopes, or even the concept of a meter. One Egyptologist once joked, if aliens didn't build it, then it's even scarier, because humans did, and we still don't know how. The pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with true north, to a degree so exact that the builders must have understood the stars with godlike precision. And speaking of stars, the air shafts inside the pyramid, thin, mysterious tunnels that don't lead to anything, align with the Orion constellation and Sirius, both sacred in Egyptian mythology. But here's the twist. Some biblical scholars believe that these same stars were referenced in the book of Job, when God asks Job, "Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loosen Orion's belt?" Job 38:31. A poetic verse, yes, but what if it's more? What if these texts and these structures are echoes of the same ancient knowledge? One theory suggests that the pyramid is not a tomb, but a giant energy transmitter. Tesla himself believed the Great Pyramid may have functioned like a power plant, harnessing Earth's natural vibrations. Biblically speaking, that idea isn't far-fetched. The Ark of the Covenant was said to radiate power, to strike down enemies, to carry the voice of God. Could both be remnants of some lost divine science? There are no building plans, no inscriptions, no detailed records of how the pyramid was constructed. Not one papyrus scroll. And here's the chilling part. The earliest depictions of the pyramid show it already complete. That's like finding a skyscraper in the middle of the desert, and no record of it ever being built. Some say it was passed down from a civilization before the Egyptians, the people who survived the flood. In Genesis, we're told that before the flood, men lived for centuries and some had great knowledge. There were giants in the earth in those days, Genesis 6:4, and also afterward. Could the pyramid be a monument from that afterward? A warning from a previous age? The Book of Enoch, banned from most Bibles, speaks of watchers, fallen angels who taught mankind forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, astronomy, and the building of great structures. Many believe the pyramids bear their fingerprints. In 2017, scientists using muon scans discovered a massive hidden void above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid, a space no one has entered, a room untouched for millennia. What's inside? Some say it's just empty space. Others believe it contains the true Hall of Records, a vault of ancient scrolls or divine relics that reveal mankind's origin. Egypt's government sealed off most access. The void remains closed. And in the king's chamber lies a stone box, no lid, no body. But the granite it's made from resonates at a frequency of 110 Hz, a sound frequency used in religious chanting across the world. Coincidence? Or is it a chamber built to channel prayer, prophecy, or resurrection? The Great Pyramid has no real decoration, just raw stone and darkness. Not the home of a king, but maybe a machine, or a vault, or a beacon. Some ancient texts say the Great Pyramid was sealed during a time of great catastrophe, and that it will only open when the stars return to their original place. Revelation 12 speaks of a woman clothed with the sun, a dragon, and a birth of something divine. Could the stars and symbols etched in the ancient sky be part of that prophecy? One thing is clear: the Great Pyramid is more than stone. It's a message carved in silence, and we've only just begun to hear it. They called it the City of the Dead, but for centuries it was more alive than anything we could imagine. Deep in the scorching sands of Egypt, not far from Luxor, sits the Valley of the Kings, a place where royalty was buried in elaborate tombs carved into the rock, hidden from the world. But what if some of those kings weren't buried at all? What if they never died, or never lived as men? Let's begin with a name you know: Tutankhamun. Discovered in 1922, King Tut's tomb ignited a global obsession. But the moment Howard Carter opened that tomb, the world changed. Within weeks, multiple members of his team were dead, struck down by disease, accidents, or sheer misfortune. Newspapers dubbed it the Pharaoh's Curse. The official story? Coincidence. But dig deeper and you find ancient texts that warned, "Death shall come on swift wings to those who disturb the king's rest." It sounds like folklore, until respected archaeologists start dying one by one. But the mystery goes further than curses. In the tomb of Seti Fun, deep underground, there is a chamber covered in carvings: birds, beetles, and helicopters? Tanks? Submarines? These are known as the Abydos carvings. When shown to modern pilots, they instantly recognize the shapes: rotors, fuselages, cockpits, carved into stone over 3,000 years ago. Egyptologists call it overcarving, an accidental overlapping of hieroglyphs. But what if it isn't? What if this was an intentional message, left for future eyes? The book of Ezekiel in the Old Testament describes a vision of flying wheels within wheels, machines of light, thunder, and flame. Ancient astronaut theorists believe Ezekiel saw the same things carved in Abydos, not visions, but vehicles. Go deeper still into the valley, and you find something even stranger: tombs built not for humans, but for beings of enormous size. In Serapeum of Saqqara, miles away from the Valley of the Kings, but often grouped in the same mystery, lie massive black stone sarcophagi, each weighing over 70 tons, perfectly cut, polished to a mirror finish. Too large for any normal burial. Egyptologists say they were meant for sacred bulls, but no bulls have ever been found inside, just silence and dust. The stone itself, black granite, comes from Aswan, hundreds of miles away. No cranes, no steel, no wheels. Just the implication that whoever made these tombs had knowledge we've since forgotten, or had help from something we don't understand. Now consider this: many of these tombs align not just with each other, but with stars. Not just Sirius or Orion, but constellations associated with judgment and resurrection. In the book of Revelation it's written, "The stars of heaven fell to earth, and every island fled away." What if those falling stars were not meteors, but memories? What if some of the kings buried in these tombs weren't kings, but keepers? Some biblical apocrypha speak of Nephilim, giants born of the union between the sons of God and the daughters of men. In the book of Enoch, these beings were cast into the earth, bound in darkness until the final judgment. Could the tombs in the Valley of the Kings be more than graves? Could they be prisons? In 1905, archaeologist Gaston Maspero found an unmarked tomb. No name, no titles, just a body. The man was over 7 feet tall. His hands were crossed over his chest, his mouth open in a scream. The body was mummified, but not with care. It looked hurried, violent, as if whoever buried him didn't want to preserve him, but trap him. They called him the Unknown Man E, later dubbed the Screaming Mummy. Was he cursed, condemned, or restrained? Even stranger is the tomb of Osiris, discovered under the Giza Plateau. It lies 100 feet below ground, filled with tunnels and a central shaft that descends to an underground chamber with a massive sarcophagus. No one knows who built it. Some believe it's purely symbolic. But the name Osiris isn't random. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris was the god of the afterlife, torn apart and resurrected. The story mirrors that of Christ: death, burial, resurrection, and eternal kingship. Is it myth or memory? And here's a chilling overlap. In Matthew 27:52-53, during Christ's crucifixion, the Bible says, "The tombs broke open, and many bodies of the saints were raised to life." A resurrection, an awakening. Could it be that Egypt's tombs, so elaborate, so protected, aren't just memorials, but stasis chambers? Waiting rooms? If even one of these ancient beings was real, if even one was preserved below the desert, then the Valley of the Kings isn't a cemetery. It's a prophecy waiting to be fulfilled. The sands of Egypt hide more than bones. They bury a truth so dangerous that it may have been locked away on purpose. And maybe, just maybe, when the stars align again, they won't stay buried for long. In the heart of Egypt, where tourists tread stone paths by daylight and shadows stretch endlessly by dusk, there lies a temple so mysterious that even the locals speak of it in hushed tones. The Temple of Seti I, located in Abydos, was thought to be just another monument to a pharaoh's ego. But what lies beneath its foundations could rewrite everything we thought we knew about ancient Egypt and about humanity's origins. When archaeologists first mapped the temple, they were stunned to discover something strange. The floors didn't match the surrounding architecture. The walls showed signs of having been added later, almost as if the temple had been built on top of something much older. In fact, ancient texts mentioned a house of the gods beneath the temple, the Osirion. And sure enough, beneath the temple lies an underground chamber. Massive granite blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, perfectly aligned, smooth, and untouched by time. The Osirion doesn't match the artistic or architectural style of Seti's era. It is, by all accounts, prehistoric. But what makes the Osirion more than just an engineering anomaly is what was reportedly hidden within: the Book of Thoth. The Book of Thoth, named after the ibis-headed god of wisdom and writing, was said to contain spells, cosmic laws, and the power to speak with the gods themselves. Some legends claim it was written in letters of fire. Others say it granted the reader the ability to control the heavens and the earth. The one thing every source agrees on? No mortal was supposed to read it. In one ancient tale, a priest steals the book. He reads it and immediately gains power to understand the language of birds and beasts. But from that moment on, his life unravels. His son dies, his wife is taken, and eventually, the gods curse him with madness. The message is clear. This knowledge was never meant for man. Now pause here and compare that with the biblical story in Genesis, the tree of knowledge in Eden. God tells Adam and Eve not to eat from it, for in that day they shall surely die. But they do eat. Their eyes are opened, and they're cast out. Forbidden knowledge, consequence, judgment. The parallels are chilling. And here's the twist. Many believe that the Book of Thoth was real, and that it was hidden beneath the Osirion, protected by priests sworn to guard it for eternity. But what if someone found it? Or worse, what if fragments survived? In 1945, in the caves of Nag Hammadi, a collection of ancient texts was discovered. Buried in jars, sealed for centuries, these scrolls weren't part of the Bible, but they echoed many biblical themes. Among them was a strange text, a dialogue between Jesus and a disciple discussing secret knowledge. One phrase stands out: "He who understands the words of the beginning shall become as one who is immortal." Who wrote this? Where did this secret knowledge come from? Some say the writings show influences from Hermeticism, an ancient Egyptian Greek belief system that traces its wisdom to Thoth, whom the Greeks called Hermes Trismegistus. Even more unsettling is that multiple high-ranking occultists and secret societies, from the Rosicrucians to Aleister Crowley, have all claimed that the Book of Thoth still exists, and that pieces of its knowledge have been passed down in secret. Crowley even named one of his most infamous tarot decks after it. But Egypt never gives up its secrets easily. In 2010, satellite infrared imaging revealed hidden chambers beneath the sands near the pyramids, chambers that remain unexcavated. Egyptian authorities have remained silent about what lies below. But one leak from a retired official suggested that some of these underground rooms were sealed not with stone, but with metal. Strange, non-corroding metal, not of this time. And in Zahi Hawass's personal notes, documents never made public but rumored to exist, there are mentions of a structure older than man, uncovered briefly during a military excavation near Saqqara, and then immediately reburied. What were they hiding? A library, a vault, or perhaps the final resting place of a text that explains not just Egypt's mysteries, but our very origin? In the apocryphal Book of Jubilees, it is written, "And the watchers taught them secrets of the earth and heavens, and of writing, and of signs." Could the Book of Thoth have been the original manuscript? A relic from a time when the Watchers, heavenly beings mentioned in Genesis and Enoch, walked among men. And if that book still exists, who holds it now? What if the secrets of resurrection, of cosmic time cycles, of stargates and soul migration were already mapped long before any modern religion, and buried not to protect them, but to protect us from them? Maybe that's why every attempt to uncover these secrets ends in death, disaster, or silence. Maybe the curse of the pharaohs isn't a spell, but a system, a warning. And if the Book of Thoth still whispers from the sands, is anyone listening? Beneath the golden sun and shifting sands of Giza, millions see only monuments, triangles of stone, tombs for ancient kings. But those who have dared to look closer know better, because the Great Pyramid was never just a tomb. It was a machine, a gateway, and what it guards may be connected not just to Egypt's past, but to humanity's future, and possibly its final reckoning. Let's start with what mainstream history won't tell you. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned to true north with a precision unmatched even by modern buildings. Its proportions encode the mathematical constants pi, and phi. Its base matches the circumference of the Earth divided by 2 pi, and it sits precisely at the geographical center of all landmass on Earth. That level of precision is not an accident, it's a message. Inside the pyramid, researchers have long puzzled over the so-called King's Chamber, a granite room sealed deep inside, containing a lidless sarcophagus. No inscriptions, no decoration, just perfect, resonating stone. When struck, the chamber vibrates at 110 hertz, a frequency associated with altered states of consciousness. And here's where it gets stranger. In 2017, using cosmic ray scans, scientists discovered a massive void above the grand gallery of the pyramid, an unknown chamber never opened, never touched. Egypt's authorities downplayed it, but those who study ancient texts believe it could be the Hall of Records, a place first spoken of by mystics and prophets as far back as Plato, a vault containing blueprints of creation left by the gods. But which gods? Now lean in, because here's where biblical prophecy collides with Egypt's secrets. In the Book of Enoch, a text removed from most Bibles but revered by early Christians and Ethiopian churches, we're told of the Watchers, 200 angels who descended to earth on Mount Hermon. They took human wives, taught forbidden knowledge, alchemy, astrology, weaponry, and birthed giants, the Nephilim. God, seeing this corruption, sent the flood. But Enoch says something else. Before the deluge, the Watchers hid their knowledge deep within the earth, preserved for the end of days. And guess where some ancient texts say this knowledge was stored? In the land of Egypt. Now consider this. The name Giza in Arabic is Al-Jiza, meaning the edge or border. Isaiah 19:19-20 reads, "In that day there will be an altar to the Lord in the midst of Egypt, and a monument at its border." Scholars have puzzled over this line. How can something be in the midst and on the border? The Great Pyramid is both. It stands in the center of Egypt's landmass, and yet right on the border of ancient Upper and Lower Egypt. Some researchers believe the pyramid itself was the altar Isaiah saw in his vision, a structure not for the dead, but for the divine. But what if this altar is more than symbolic? Whispers from ancient mystery schools claim the pyramids were built not to honor the dead, but to control what lies beneath. Hidden beneath Giza is a network of tunnels, many of them submerged. Explorers like Dr. Salim Hassan and Andrew Collins have documented sealed shafts, underground lakes, and passageways that Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities refuses to discuss. In 1997, a rogue team claimed to have entered one such tunnel and found a sealed chamber with symbols matching the Book of the Dead, but also symbols found in Sumeria and even pre-flood Mesopotamian cultures. They said there were giant coffins too large for any human. They heard movement, and then they were removed, silenced. Now ask yourself, why would Egypt's authorities seal off these discoveries? And what is so dangerous about what lies beneath the Sphinx? Yes, the Sphinx. Older than the pyramids, water erosion patterns suggest it's at least 10,000 years old. twice as old as official timelines claim. But the real mystery isn't the Sphinx itself, it's what lies beneath its paws. In 1993, the Edgar Cayce Foundation used seismic equipment and found a hollow chamber beneath the Sphinx, a perfectly rectangular void. They called it the Hall of Records, and in Cayce's prophecies, based on trance visions, this hall would one day be opened to reveal the truth about human origins, Atlantis, and the return of the gods. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. The gods that built these structures may not have been gods. In the Hebrew Bible, Psalm 82:6 says, "I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men." Could the builders have been fallen angels? The same watchers from Enoch? Creatures who taught man to build impossible things, and were then buried beneath their own works? If so, then Egypt isn't just an archaeological site, it's a prison. And those underground vaults? Seals, holding something back. In Revelation 9, a terrifying vision is described. The fifth angel sounded, and a star fell from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit, and out of the pit came smoke and locusts, and they had a king over them, whose name is Abaddon. A pit, a sealed chamber, a forgotten prison. Could the bottomless pit be beneath Egypt? Maybe that's why modern excavations are halted. Maybe that's why certain chambers remain unexplored, not out of ignorance but out of fear. Fear that what sleeps beneath Giza might wake up. And maybe, just maybe, the ancient Egyptians didn't worship gods. They locked them away. So the next time you see the pyramids in a photo, or hear about them in a dusty old textbook, remember this: you're not looking at tombs, you're looking at warnings. Warnings carved in stone, mathematical messages, astronomical alignments, sealed gates buried beneath our feet. And maybe, just maybe, prophecies not about the past, but about what's still to come. Because Egypt doesn't just hold history, it hides it. And some secrets were buried for a reason. But the sands are shifting, the seals are cracking, and the question now isn't if these mysteries will come to light, it's whether we're ready for what comes out of the dark. If you've made it this far, thank you for walking with me through one of the oldest, strangest, and most sacred lands on Earth. I make videos like this every single week: real mysteries, ancient history, biblical secrets, and the hidden truths most are too afraid to ask. So if you're curious, if you feel that tug deep in your soul that there's more to this world than we've been told, hit that subscribe button. Join us as we uncover the buried, the forbidden, and the unexplained. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and whatever you do, don't stop asking questions, because once you see it, you can't unsee it.